Good afternoon. This is Patty from Spirit 432. It's about 2:45, the end of August, and I am going to focus today on a couple of different topics that have come up in the last month that I thought would be interesting and worth a mention and possibly helpful. If you're listening to this, maybe some of these things will be helpful in your journey, not just through grief or loss. It doesn't matter if it's just grief or loss, but there could be other things that you're going through that are causing you to be in a stage of healing, and that's okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is the timelines for grief and letting things go. You know, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of other people that I've been around and that I've talked with lately have said they've been feeling these periods of endings of things. And that is kind of interesting that so many people seem to be at these different stages. And there was a couple things that were happening in the universe. The Lionsgate portal opened, and I'm told, a friend of mine said the end of July there was a shifting period of energies. So I think that all fits in with the timeline of letting go. And I talked a little bit last podcast I did. It was about specifically letting go. And I think that it's okay to let go and it's okay to mourn, but when you're trying to bring that new energy in, you kind of have to do this juggling act between letting go of things that no longer serve you, and then you still have this attachment that you're trying to dissolve, and then you've got this disconfiguration of energy that's all over the place. So you have all these things going on, and then you're trying to make room, create space, manifest, gain abundance, and you've got that going on. You're trying to lunge forward, but you're also trying to make sure that you give yourself enough time to fully take the plunge into the next level. So it is interesting, and no matter what it is, if it is that you're going through the loss of a project, closing a chapter in your life, entering a new stage, perhaps something happened that you weren't prepared to let go of, or maybe that you saw coming, but then it actually happened, and then you were all of a sudden right there, right in that moment where you're going, okay, I have to keep moving forward, but I maybe wasn't prepared to be right at this place that I am now. And now here I am. I think sometimes the difference is, and I think this is really apparent for a lot of people, is the universe. And I earlier today when I was running, I sort of had this message from the universe. The universe will remove things in time, in good time, and the universe will bring new things in when you're ready. You know, one of those things that I've noticed is it seems like sometimes it takes a while to get into the new energy, the new level, get into that new stage, whatever that is, and you kind of go, okay, why is this taking so long? Well, it's because you have to let things fully come into effect. You have to let all the energies that are running underneath the earth, all these channels, you've got to let them all ebb and flow, and you've got to let them stabilize, and you've got to let them run their course fully in order to get into the new level and then progress and to move forward. So that's just something that's been kind of on my mind lately, and it does tie in with the last podcast that I did, just in terms of letting go. And I mentioned earlier this timeline for grief. There really is no set timeline for grief. You need to hang on to things as long as you need to hang on to them. You need to process them. You need to sit with them fully. You can't just bury them down and never deal with them, because they will come out later in life in unexpected ways. And it's interesting how the older I get, I know the more I do stay with things a little bit longer. I stay with them a little more fuller. I do try to work through whatever I can. And, you know, another thing, too, that's interesting that I've been dealing with lately, too, is not everything is reconcilable in life. And there are things I've had throughout life. And I think that, you know, when you're younger, you're always taught to make peace. And, you know, sometimes making peace can be not a good thing. It can be dangerous to do that, and it can put you back into situations that you've tried to get out of. So when you have these irreconcilable differences, it's then that you need to kind of look at that and say, this situation is what it is, whether it's a project, whether it's dealing with a certain person, whatever that is, you need to look at that and say, okay, this is what it is. This is not meant to go any further, and I am, I have to just let it go. Now, whether you forgive that person or not, what I find to be most helpful is you just keep looking to the universe. You look to God and you say, God doesn't make mistakes. If you have that mindset and that belief, and I do happen to have that, and I do believe that no matter what it is, if it's a personal situation that I am in or other people are in, God does not make mistakes. But you have to learn a certain there's certain lessons you have to learn while you're here. You're supposed to learn from certain people while you're here. And that when you learn those lessons and you keep progressing forward, there's more that comes of it, and it's better than it was before. But you take into account maybe what you did or didn't do, what you could do to make it better, and then you take those experiences and then you're better in going forward because you took the time to reflect on what happened, and you kind of learn what situations do and don't deserve your energy. And it's a lot easier to let things go the older you get and the more experience you have with it, because you are going to come to learn when the universe is letting things be released from your life. So the timeline, I think, is a little bit staggered. I do think now that lots of people are going through periods of change and they're developing into new levels. But to get from point A to point B, there's a certain drive you have to take that you may not necessarily want to take. It is uncharted territory, or it may be similar territory if you had similar experiences. But you have to stay on the road as long as you have to be on the road to get from point A to point B. And it may not be easy to travel that. It may not be within the timeline that you have set for it to go. But like I know myself, I keep saying, okay, got out of this one thing, this one project. I'm really looking forward to moving forward to this next project, whatever that is. But I can't wait for it to get here. Well, there's a couple things that were not I would say huge priorities early this summer, but there was some things that were just sort of residual that I need to get done, that I'm like, you have to get these things done before you can fully shift your focus. And until these things are done, you need to stay here and use the time effectively. And I definitely have done that. Use it effectively, and no matter what the timeline is, how quick or slow something moves, just rest assured, it's all in the universe's time. It's all in God's time. And the timing is not always up to you and I, but the timing has to be just so. You've got to put faith in the belief that things will work out when they are meant to work out, and not necessarily are they going to work out because you do or don't believe in them. But when you do believe that things are going to turn around for the better, they will. When you do believe that it's time to let something go, you will let it go. And it's okay to reflect back sometimes and to think about it. I know that we've got a blue moon approaching. Mercury's in retrograde. There's like 6 planets that are doing something right now. So, I mean, if you're feeling a little off, or you're feeling like the energy is not normal. I think that's what it is. It's not normal. It's kind of foggy. It's a little chaotic. If you're feeling that right now, it's okay. You just have to take that for what it's worth and give it the time you need to give it, and just know that it's going to pass soon. Whatever soon is, it'll pass when it's meant to pass, but you just have to get through it. And whatever you do, try to use that energy to fuel a project that maybe you've been putting off. Fuel energy, or fuel things, whatever you don't feel like doing right now, like see if that makes you get up and do whatever you've been putting off. So that's kind of my take on timelines lately. Let the universe decide when the time is right, and just trust in God and the universe that everything will come to you when it's meant to come to you. And the wait will be worthwhile once you get to that point. So I'm gonna move on a little bit here to talk about some experiences I've had with spirit. My aunt appeared to me. This was a couple weeks ago. She was very, very clear, and the symbol that I got from her was a blue butterfly. And I happened to be on social media one day, and actually it was the next day, and I had a page. There was a quote about waiting for the biggest plot change to happen in the last couple months of the year. It was something to that effect. I clicked on it. I joined the group, And when I went on, the cover photo had a blue butterfly. So I knew it was my aunt coming to me. And then we had some other things come up that week that were a little stressful, a little trying, but everything was okay. One of the other things she said to me was that everything would be fine. It's all going to be okay. So I thought that was interesting. Now, my aunt, I talk about her in the book. She came to me initially after she had passed away. I don't want to give too much away about the book, but she had a very distinct sign after she had passed away. And I do reflect on that often. Now, she would come around in other ways. We would hear change drop. We would find change. I found a penny that week, so I knew that it was her letting me know she was nearby. But it was interesting to get that sign and to have that so vividly, to have her present. I have been noticing more when I've been communicating with Spirit. There are experiences that are a little bit more realistic, where I can actually feel a presence or an energy, or somebody appears to me in there. I can see them. It's very, very clear in my mind. It's as though they're right in front of me. So I've had a couple of those experiences as well. I did have another similar one, and I was trying to recall. I was having a hard time placing the spirit that had appeared, but I know that another sign that had come up was deer. So those couple things came up, and I guess my message there is pay attention to the butterflies. I've seen some unique looking butterflies outside of the monarchs, which are also near and dear. So that's been kind of interesting to have those signs come in from my aunt. Also, when we are talking about the signs, just something else I guess I just want to touch on real quick. I keep noticing hawks when I go on my runs. I've noticed hawks both there's a praying call, not a praying call, but a hunting call that the hawk uses as though the hawk is going to hunt. I heard that when I was running, and I actually saw the hawk do the call and then fly away. It was very, very interesting. And then I saw one circling today, and a couple times I've noticed one up on the telephone pole in a certain area looking over the certain area. And that also, and if you're listening to this, if this podcast has found you, that also is another sign from Spirit. The hawk is telling you that be prepared for a new role in life, for a new destination, a new chapter. Be prepared for a greater role in your life. So that really spoke to me. The hawk is not something that I have had a very close connection with up until now. Now I've had the monarchs, I've seen raccoons. We also we've done a couple YouTube videos featuring the monarchs, and then the hawk, the call of the hawk was actually, we have that on our YouTube channel, Northeast Beachside Creations. We did a video specifically for the Spirit 432 for that particular playlist in the last month. So it was interesting to have those items, or have not those items, but those signs and messages appear. Another message that I haven't had lately, but the raccoons is something. There could be people in your life that are wearing a mask, and if somebody in your life is causing problems, you may want to look at that. Is this person really who they say they are? Are they really who they claim to be? Or are they wearing a mask? Am I falling prey to somebody who is wearing a mask, who is not their authentic self to other people? Do I maybe have some insight into who they really are authentically, that maybe they don't want others to know that that's who they are authentically? I haven't seen the raccoons in person. On occasion I will notice them run by, but I did have the other day on our Spirit 432 social media page, I did have a post on there about raccoons and just being mindful of people wearing masks. So if you've been seeing the raccoon lately as a messenger, just keep that in mind. So I know with these podcasts, I mean, this is the third one that we've done. I am hoping in the future to have guests on. I'm hoping to really gear it to more so messages from Spirit. And kind of take some of the personal experiences that I've had and that I've picked up from other people and be able to share that insight with you, because what I've been finding is oftentimes when you're going through something, there might be other people going through it and they maybe can't verbalize it, but when they listen to something like this, they might be able to find some meaning to some of the things that are going on. And as I said, with all these things going on cosmically in the universe, with the blue moon coming up, from what I understand, the blue moon, this particular blue moon, is going to be a time of powerful release. So if there's something you need to let go, maybe a good time to let it go. Get those projects done, get them wrapped up, and then move on. The seasons are going to be changing soon. The leaves are going to be falling from the trees because, the leaves only need to be on that tree for so long, and then the leaves are going to be falling. So we're going to be getting into that. I mean, it's already starting here. I'm looking out the window right now of my office where I do my podcast, and I mean, there's little yellow leaves starting to form on the trees where the leaves are green. So we are getting into that. I know around here, it seems like it's been a little bit of a late start to the season. It just seems like summer we lost a lot of time with some of the air quality alerts, and illnesses were popping up and that. So it was kind of a weird summer. I feel like we're almost I know myself personally, it just seems like we're a month behind. Whereas normally it would feel like we're getting into August, it's actually that we're getting into September. So that's also kind of interesting too, and I guess maybe it's good to have just a little bit of time. I'm looking at this as more of a transitional period, and as I said, it seems like a lot of people are going through some sort of a transitional period. It doesn't necessarily have to even be something major. Maybe somebody's going through a remodel at their house, or they're having some work done. And I'm going to close with this. I did have some work done. I call it a Zen garden, where I have a meditation garden, and I had to have some work done. And anyways, they had to when they went back over the work, they had to basically they had to go back over and smooth out the dirt and that. So I've got kind of this, I've got this sort of a fresh start with my Zen garden, and it's kind of like a clean slate. So it was really poetic to have all these things happen all summer, and then to kind of have that reality take place where that reality set in, where it was like something was totally changed around. And I look at that like energetically, the energy is changing and the energy had to change. And before I had the work done, I kind of knew that things were never just going to quite be the same, but I also needed to have something like that happen. It was perfect timing for me because I could see exactly how, you've had this issue for a long time. You did the work to get it corrected, to make it better, and to make it better for you and those around. You did the work. You did what you had to do, and then it's now with how things turned out. It's kind of like a clean slate in that area. So in general, I'm looking at it like September 1st is a clean slate. That'll be right after we'll still be in the couple days after the once in a blue moon phase, but yes, that is going to be a significant time to get comfortable with the new level. And I know it seems hard sometimes to not think about the past or things that happened, but if you stay stuck for too long, it's going to really hinder you from breathing new life into something and from opening yourself up to a new way of living, something life-changing. It's going to not allow you to create space for something better. And that really is what it is all about, is creating space for something better in your life and or for the lives of those around you as well. So that ends this podcast. I know it was kind of a miscellaneous group of topics, but I hope that if you came across this podcast today, if you are going through a time of loss or change, or where you're leaving one opportunity, just know that there's greater days ahead. The best days are ahead of you, and you just have to keep working and moving forward. Whatever it is, if it's a project or some sort of other opportunity, just keep moving forward. And if if you did have some kind of an ending to a project or something, or a stage of your life, whatever that is, just know that when you keep moving forward, better things, new energy, they attract you, and the more that you create that space, you open yourself up to a whole whirlwind of brand new opportunities. And then, as I said, with regard to spirit and letting things go, letting them be. That also allows you, when you do that, your loved ones come in when you need those. Your loved ones on the other side, they come in with those messages when you need them the most, and they will come in and they will be your guiding light if you look for them. And those couple messages, the blue butterfly, the hawk, the deer, an older message for me, but possibly a new message for you, may be the raccoon. Pay attention to those things in your life, those signs. They're not things, they're signs, they're messages, they're symbols. Pay attention to those things and think about what they may mean to you and for you. I do wish you all the best at whatever stage you're in, whatever you're going through today, and for whatever reason you were brought here today. I hope you were able to take away a message. I hope we were able to maybe uncork a message for you personally that helps make your life better now and in the future. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media, Spirit432 and Northeast Beachside Creations. And stay tuned for more podcasts. It has been a pleasure being able to be with you in this capacity this afternoon. Let's see where Spirit takes us this week. Thank you.